It's your buddy Mike Messier. Sad news from the wrestling world. Beautiful Bobby Eaton has passed away. I could be mistaken, but I believe his wife just passed away recently too. It seems like about a month ago. I could be wrong on that, but I think it was Bobby Eaton's wife who was apparently superstar Bill Dundee's daughter. And so, if I've got that right, just going by the tip of my memory, folks, Bobby Eaton, beautiful Bobby, passes away not too long after his wife does. Sometimes you hear that about really committed relationships. Very quick following, I guess. I don't know the tactful words to say. I'm going to share some memories of beautiful Bobby. First off, condolences to his family and friends and fans, of which I'm a fan. Never met Bobby Eaton, but saw him wrestle many times. And I'll do something a little bit different. I know everyone's going to talk about the Midnight Express and the great tag teams, his team with Lord Steven Regal, the Blue Bloods, the Dangerous Alliance. I want to talk about a singles match. First off, just because I think a lot of people forget that Bobby had a nice push as I think they were still saying, they're saying NWA or WCW at that point, but the television champion for NWA/WCW, right at the tipping point of when they started calling it WCW. So I think he was probably uh, WCW television champion, defeating Arn Anderson. And I think when Arn had most recently gotten the belt back from the Z-Man, I believe, it was still called the NWA TV Championship, NWA World Television title. Anyway, Bobby Eaton versus Arn Anderson. I want to say it was Super Brawl 1 in St. Petersburg. It was either, yeah, it was Super Brawl 1. Great card. Flair versus Tatsumi Fujinami, the match of the year, the Steiners versus Luger and Sting, Nikita Koloff versus Tommy Rich. And right there on that very same card, you had my favorites, Barry Windham and Brian Pillman in a tape fist match. And then a match that kind of interwove with that match. And I'll let you watch the card. Arn Anderson versus Bobby Eaton for the World Television title. Eaton, um, I believe shortly after this, he won the TV title, and then he would have a match with Ric Flair on a Clash of the Champions in June of '91. So if you're looking for singles action with beautiful Bobby, you have to look at 1991. The Jim Cornette and Stan Lane had left. Bobby was turned into a babyface for a while. Won the World Television title over none other than um, Arn Anderson. And then he challenged Flair, a 2 out of 3 falls match for the world title on a Clash of Champions, which I believe was Flair's last big Clash of Champions match before leaving the WCW for a couple of years. And then of course Eaton, his summer didn't start off too strong. He went into that legendarily bad scaffold match at Great American Bash '91. It wasn't Bobby's fault, just horrible booking. We all know about that scaffold match at Great American Bash '91. But Bobby's babyface push would continue until the Clash of Champions in the fall, I think September. And they basically did this whole thing with Rick Rude and Sting. And then on Saturday night, they announced the New Dangerous Alliance. Paul Heyman came out for the New Dangerous Alliance. And he brought out Arn. He brought out Larry Zbyszko, Rude, a young, stunning Steve Austin. And guess who? Bobby Eaton was said to be the mole, like said to be the guy that was a turncoat on Sting. So Bobby easily went back to being a heel guy and put in the tag team with Arn. Bobby and Arn won the World Tag Team title from Steamboat and Dustin Rhodes. They would hold those belts for, I think, 3 or 4 months. And they would eventually lose them to the Steiners, I believe. But they had a couple of pay-per-view matches, Eaton and Arn. We all know that Bobby Eaton and Sweet Stan Lane and Bobby Eaton and Dennis Condrey were both sets of Midnight Express World Tag Team Champions. The Lane and Eaton version of the team was also, I believe, 2-time U.S. Tag Team Champions. And a child, an infant, Mike Messier, just might have been at the Great American Bash '88 as an infant to see in my infanthood Bobby and Stan win the U.S. Tag Team titles in Baltimore over the Fantastics. Beautiful Bobby. Somewhere I have a wonderful photo of the Midnights and the Fantastics. I believe my uncle took that photo of them in action. A lot of people will harp. You'll be hearing about this for days. I'm sure Jim Cornette is going to have a tearful tribute, as well he should. Bobby was probably Jim's favorite protege, his favorite wrestler that he ever managed. So condolences to Jim Cornette. I'm sure he's going to have a lot to say. And Jim Cornette, for all his rowdiness and arrogance at times, he does care about Bobby Eaton, that's for sure. They were a great wrestler, manager team. Can't take that away from him. So condolences to Jim Cornette. How could you not give condolences? It's gonna be it's a tough one. Paul Orndorff, Butch Reed, Don Kernodle, Bob Eaton. A lot of these guys from the '80s are passing away. The only thing I can say is that most of these guys, including Eaton, all had seemingly great lives. Or very good lives. I mean, at least, but I would say probably great lives, and leave behind wives and children. And as I said earlier, I think Bobby's wife passed away just about a month ago. So now we talk about the Midnight Express. And look, funny enough, I'm wearing this Road Warriors T-shirt, kind of a Road Warriors '98. The scaffold match, Starrcade '86. It was the Condrey Eaton team. If you ever saw an episode of WCW Worldwide, I believe, Worldwide Wrestling, Dusty and the Rock and Roll Express in a bunkhouse 6-man against Eaton, Condrey, and Bubba Rogers. Did you ever see that one? That was a great match. Bobby Eaton and Dusty Rhodes had a cage match, I believe, on Worldwide Wrestling for the U.S. title. Dusty was the champion. Eaton was sent to challenge him. That they did that every once in a while. They split up the Midnights just to see them go singles. Eaton and Lane over Tully and Arn. That feud, very interesting feud that started in the second half of '88 and went just about 6-week feud. A lot of that was build up. Not a lot of television stuff taped. I don't think any matches were taped for TV between Arn and Tully against the Stan Lane and Bobby Eaton. But there is a fan cam of the title change in Philadelphia, I believe, of the Midnight Express. Lane and Eaton getting the victory over Tully and Arn for the tag title. And like I said earlier, once Stan Lane and Jim Cornette left the NWA, WCW, Bobby was on his own, and he had a great team with Arn Anderson after he beat Arn for the TV title. And he lost the TV title to none other than Steve Austin. So, yes, Bobby Eaton, first guy to put over Stunning Steve Austin for a major title. I think, I could be wrong, but I think that was Steve Austin's first championship in any company, was the TV title over Bobby. Bobby, I never met the guy, but from what I've heard, Bobby Eaton was one of the favorite wrestlers in any company. He was soft-spoken. He never got angry at anyone, according to Jim Cornette again. If Bobby did get mad at someone, you knew that something was really wrong because Bobby typically didn't have a temper. So if he was upset, you knew that something was really a maljustice, an injustice in the world of wrestling. Bobby had a great kind of look, for wrestling. Wasn't a bodybuilder type, wasn't a body guy, but wasn't in bad shape either. And he had that wonderful '80s, peroxide blonde wrestler hair like Buddy Jack Roberts or Ric Flair. Just that wonderful wrestler blonde look. Wasn't a talk. It's interesting because a guy in the '80s who wasn't a talker and wasn't a body guy. A lot of guys in the '80s had to be body guys or talkers. And Eaton was neither. And they say he's a high flyer. Well, most of his high flying stuff was the leg drop, the flying leg drop off the top rope. I could be wrong, but did they call that the Alabama Jam? I believe it was called the Alabama Jam. I almost said the trash compactor, but I think that was a different tag team move. Maybe when Stan held the opponent, bend it over knee or something, and Bobby would drop the Alabama Jam. The Alabama Jam. What a great move. I can't remember if Bobby pretty much used the Midnight Express movie soundtrack for his music. I don't remember if Bobby had a different song as a singles. I don't think he did. If you're watching, no offense, but if you're watching the Midnight Express on the WWE Network, I'm sure you're not getting the original Midnight Express theme. By the way, you're getting some generic crap music. I don't know what to tell you. You either had to live through it or you do the research, you do the homework to find the original versions of these matches. What else can I say about Bobby Eaton? Never, as far as I know, never wrestled in WWE, never wrestled in Junior's Meat Puppet Circus, but he did wrestle in World Class Championship Wrestling along with Dennis Condrey, the Midnight Express. The Midnights were there for about 6 weeks, or 6 months, I should say, where they feuded with the Fantastics. They got the tag team titles. I believe they wrestled the Von Erichs just a couple of times at house shows, from what Cornette said. The Midnights, the Condrey and Eaton version, were also big in Mid South Wrestling, part of Angles with Magnum TA and Mr. Wrestling 2. I believe they definitely had the Mid South tag team titles. I believe Bobby. Now, here's where my history of Bobby Eaton is a little bit shaky. Some of you can leave a comment if you choose to and tell me. But didn't Bobby in Mid Southern Wrestling, before he was really synced in with the Midnight Express, and believe it or not, I think there was a Midnight Express before Bobby Eaton. There was the Randy Rose, Norvell Austin, uh, Dennis Condrey version. If I'm not botching that somehow, and somehow I'm not sure how that team kind of broke up and Eaton came in, so I'm not really sure how that happened. A little bit before my time. But Bobby did make his name known in mid Southern wrestling, or the Jerry Lawler Memphis territory, whatever you want to call it, the Fargos and so forth. What else? Also, interestingly enough, after he kind of got phased out, I remember him wrestling even into what was it, Slamboree '96 Battle Bowl. Eaton was there and advanced to the finals, I think, and was in there pretty deep. I think he was teamed up with Dick Slater or some such thing, and got to the final 8-man battle royal, if I'm not mistaken. I could be mistaken on that, but I believe Eaton got all the way to the final 8 of that pay-per-view and was tangling with the eventual winner. I guess I won't spoil it in case you watch Slamboree '96. That's the last time I personally remember Bobby Eaton being significantly featured. And shortly thereafter, I want to say by the end of '96 or early '97, I could be wrong. I think Bobby segued from active pro wrestler in WCW, became a security guy. So one of those things where you say, "Oh, gee whiz, you get demoted." Well, I don't know about that, because I think Bobby probably knew his own body, knew if he had injuries. He gained a little bit of weight at that point, but he was getting older. He had been wrestling for quite some time, and I think Bobby just kind of knew when to say when, and just knew when those Alabama jams were adding up to probably spine. I'm just speculating. I can't say. I'm not him, but I'm just guessing that Bobby kind of knew enough about himself, how his comfort, his quality of life, and he wanted to preserve himself, and he just segued into security for WCW, because you'd be watching WCW Nitro and suddenly there's Bobby Eaton holding back the crowd, and to me that's a testimony to how much the guy loved the business, how much he wanted to be a part of it, just a lack of ego and willing to do security. I mean, you wouldn't see other people who could have had less careers than Bobby Eaton would scoff at doing security. But Bobby, because he's a consummate professional and loved the industry, he had no problem doing security and was probably wonderful at it, because the fans probably respected him so much. They didn't want to upset Bobby Eaton. And seemed like a guy with a real calm demeanor. um, yes, he played a heel quite a bit, but like I said, he had Cornette with him as the mouthpiece. Uh, I mean, real heel heat whenever Cornette would kind of fluff Bobby Eaton's hair, his golden locks, or Eaton would fluff his own locks. But he was one of those guys, Bobby Eaton, that even as a heel, it's more like a respect heel than a hatred heel, or a comedy heel, or a mock heel, or a novelty heel. He's a guy that people respect, and it's almost like he's being a dutiful soldier doing the bidding for this Jim Cornette character. So there you have it. I don't know if I've given enough tribute here to Bobby Eaton. I really tried. I mean, I didn't get into the Blue Bloods. At one point, I had this wonderful action figure set. I think I gave it to a friend as a gift, but the Regal Eaton Blue Bloods set, oh my God, great stuff. The Blue Bloods were interesting because Bobby basically replaced Triple H. It was supposed to be Regal and Triple H or John Paul Levesque in WCW, or John Paul Lafitte or whatever they're calling him. When Triple H left to go to shine Vince McMahon's shoes, Bobby Eaton took the place in that spot. So that's how much respected he was. And the Blue Bloods, unfortunately, they probably should have had a tag team title run, but the rocket scientists and booking at the time didn't see it that way. They were never given a world title run. I believe they had world title matches. That was probably the last big thing you saw Bobby Eaton on TV. I remember Lord, was it Squire Dave Taylor was put in the mix with Eaton and Regal for a while, then Fit Finley. I don't know the exact chronology, but something like that. Eaton was a guy that really did do well with groups like the Dangerous Alliance. I guess I didn't get into that, but if you want to see a hell of a great match, watch Wrestle War '92. Okay, I guess I'll give you Wrestle War '92, the Dangerous Alliance, Eaton, Zbyszko, Arn Anderson's, young stunning Steve Austin, Ravishing Rick Rude against Nikita Koloff, Sting, Steamboat, Dustin Rhodes, and Barry Windham. So Wrestle War '92 is a good assignment for you. Starrcade '90, the Z-Man versus Bobby Eaton. I believe it's the first match, if I got that right. Starrcade '88, the Midnight Express versus the Midnight Express. How could I forget the original Midnight Express of Randy Rose and Dennis Condrey feuding with Eaton and Lane. Starrcade '88, a great match. Starrcade '88, great match. Midnight Express versus original Midnight Express. Wonderful match. Uh, what else have I got? You could watch a babyface Bobby Eaton at Great American Bash '89. It's a card you should have memorized by now. You should have watched that show several times, but Bobby Eaton's in that. Clash of Champions 1, Fantastics against the Midnight Express. Second match of the card, stole the show. Barry did anything that WWF did on that same day of, I want to say March 30th, 1988, if that's the correct day, or maybe March 28th, 1988. Greensboro Coliseum. But Great American Bash, as I said, '88. Lane and Eaton versus our buddies there, the Fantastics. Great match, tight. Their Clash of the Champions match was probably a tinge better. There was also a WCW Worldwide match that started the feud in early '88, maybe January or February of '88. You can find the Fantastics in a non-title match against the Lane and Eaton match. Lane and Eaton for the U.S. Tag Team titles, although it was a non-title match. So there you have it. Like I said, the singles, I defer to Bobby Eaton versus Arn Anderson at the Super Brawl 1 for the TV title, and then the 2 out of 3 falls Clash of Champions of June of '91. And I think I've paid my respects. The Alabama Jam Master, Beautiful Bobby, and Sweet Stan, the Midnight Express, or if you prefer, Beautiful Bobby and Loverboy Dennis. It was nice to see Bobby kind of reunited with Stan when the Heavenly Bodies and Cornette from Smoky Mountain came in, and Bobby made a nice little cameo at Super Clash 3. Okay. So you can see that the Heavenly Bodies were some rock and rolls. Bobby makes a nice cameo, which is always nice to see. So Bobby Eaton, folks, it's a real man's man. He would never do some of the deplorable things that some of the wrestlers have done. I won't even dignify those actions by mentioning them. But Bobby Eaton, with his trusty tennis racket and from his buddy Jim Cornette, he will live in wrestling history forever. He will be forever remembered as a great wrestler and a great person from all those that know him. They say that. I say, long live Bobby Eaton's memory. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. and subscribe to Mike Messier YouTube channel. Bobby Eaton, my hat's off to you. You had a great career. Thank you for your service to wrestling.